guys, it's Tori, and today I'm doing a little book haul for you. I have been trying to hold off a little bit on buying books, but I have received a few good deals for some books, so I haven't spent a ton of money, but I did end up with a little bit of a pile of books, so I'm just gonna show those off today. The first book I got is actually an ARC, and I received it as a Goodreads giveaway from the publisher, and that is Czarina by Alpsten. This follows the story of Catherine the Great before she became Tsarina of Russia. Catherine the Great is someone I'm very interested in, but I have not learned very much about, so I feel like this will be a good opportunity to get a little bit of an introduction to her, and hopefully I'll enjoy it. This book comes out in October, and I plan to get a review up in the next couple of months, so those of you watching who are interested in this can hear my thoughts and see if it's something you'll be interested in picking up when it comes out. The next book has quite a story behind it. I actually ordered this one and another one about a month ago, but I accidentally sent it to my apartment down near my university. However, I'm no longer going there. I'm not going back there. So I tried to get in contact with the apartment managers there to see if possibly they would be able to forward it to me. And they said they would, but then they never did. And I kept trying to call and email and they wouldn't respond. However, in the past week, I had the opportunity to go down there with my mom and sister for a little dance competition my sister was doing. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna stop by and hopefully they'll have them. And one of them they did have, and it was just in the mailbox, but the other one was not there. Part of me feels like they weren't very organized, so part of me feels like it might have been there, but it's totally fine. Thrift Books was willing to give me a refund on that one. But this one book that was there that I was finally able to pick up is The Sunne and Splendour by Sharon K. Penman. This obviously has no dust jacket. I received it from Thrift Books and it mentioned on there was no dust jacket, so it's totally fine. But this is the story of Richard III. It's historical fiction and I am a Richard III fan. For those of you who are history buffs, I'm not one to say that he was a saint or anything like that. I think he had a lot of flaws, and I honestly do think he had something to do with the death of the Princess in the Tower. However, that all being said, I do feel like he's been made out to be a sociopath, and I don't think he was. I think he had a lot more humanity to him than he's often portrayed as having, and this is basically like, if you like Richard III, you have to read this book. So I am so excited to have my hands on it. It's a humongous book. And so for that reason, I don't know when I'm going to read it. I feel like I gotta prepare myself and plan for a month where I know I'll be able to read it. Maybe around Christmas I'll try to pick it up, but we'll see. Definitely I will not be reading this for a few months, but I am excited to pick it up whenever I get to it. These next few books I actually just bought today. I'm not putting these books in the order I received them in, but I am putting them in groups. So these next three books I actually purchased today from a local used bookstore, and I was just feeling a little depressed. There's just been a lot of chaos going on in the world, if you haven't noticed, and even in the booktube community there's been some issues with some different things that I'm not going to go into here because it's just really hitting me hard, and I'm just needed something happy in my life between, again, what the chaos in the world, the chaos on booktube, and personally I've had some things that have been stressing me out a lot recently, so it was just a lot piling up, and I just wanted to go to the bookstore and get some books that would cheer me up, even just to have, and were books that were a little shorter but would be fun to pick up if I had like an afternoon where I just wanted to relax and read them. So I have three books here for that. The first one is Edgedancer by Brandon Sanderson. This is a story following Lift, who is a character in the Stormlight Archive. I believe this one comes in between the second and third books, which I've already read the third book, Oathbringer, but I still really wanted to read this because I love Lift and I'd like to get a little bit more of an understanding of her character, and I feel like this is going to provide that. It's really not very long at all. None of these three books that I'm about to mention are very long. I'm really excited to pick it up, and Lift is a very lighthearted, fun character in the series, so I do think this will bring me that lighthearted funness. That's not a word. It is now. It's fine. That I'm craving right now with, again, all my anxiety and depression that's been going on. So then I have a couple of little classics. Actually, both of them are French classics, obviously translated into English, although I can read a little bit of French. little pat on the back there. But one I've heard is actually more of a comedy, and so I knew it would just be lighthearted and fun. And then the other one is just cute, and I've heard really good things about it. So the first one is also, this is a really ugly copy, but it is Candide by Voltaire. I know nothing about this, but I've heard that it's pretty funny. It's a comedy. I've been really liking French literature recently. I really don't think I've read any French literature that I haven't loved. Not that I've read a ton, but I've really enjoyed what I have read, and so I feel like I am going to like this whenever I get the chance to pick it up. And the other book I got from the used bookstore is The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. That was probably really bad, but anyway, I've heard this book is really, really cute. A lot of people have read it in school, especially if you studied French. You may have read it in French in school. I didn't quite get to that level of French learning in school at this point, but I've heard it's really cute, and this was a very nice copy. I don't know much about this, but I'm excited to get around to it whenever I do. I think it will be a good read for like an afternoon, again, when I'm just feeling overwhelmed and I have some time and I just want to read something cute. I think this will be a good option for that. Then these last four I purchased from thrift books, just like with the Sunne and Splendour. However, these I purchased all in the same order. One of them is the other book that I wasn't able to receive, that I received a refund for from thrift books. And then since I was ordering that one, I was like, I may as well just take the time to buy a few others, especially because thrift books provides free shipping to the US if you spend more than $10. So I was like, may as well get a couple other things. So here's what I have. It's mostly historical fiction. And then the one that I needed, that I had purchased before and it didn't get to me, was a classic. So we'll just go through these. The first book I have on the pile here is Wolf Hall by Hilary Mantel. This is obviously a pretty well-loved copy, but it is from a used bookstore, so it's okay. This follows the story of Henry VIII and his romance with Anne Boleyn, as well as the fallout with her, and it's all from the perspective of Thomas Cromwell, who was a very well-respected man by Henry VIII himself. He had a lot to do with the Protestant Reformation and helping Henry VIII accomplish that. I have seen the mini-series made by the BBC a few years ago and really enjoyed it, though at the time I didn't know as much about the time period, so I was kind of confused at some points, but now I've been able to experience a lot more and I understand a lot more about the people during that time and what all was going on, so I feel like I can now try out the book, and I've heard really, really good things about this. Lucy from Lucy the Reader has recently been reading it and really enjoying it. Jennifer from Jennifer Brooks, I believe is her channel name, also has recently reread it and loved it. This is the first book in a trilogy too, so if I enjoy it, I'll have a few more books to read. I'm really hoping I like it. I think I will. I don't know when I'm going to read it because right now I'm working through I, Elizabeth, which is a book solely from the perspective of Queen Elizabeth I, and so I might be a little tutored out. Plus, on top of that, I've been watching The Tudors on Netflix, which also is a lot of this stuff. So I may need a break, meaning I won't jump right into this, but that being said, I hope to get to it as soon as possible. Next, I have a very highly anticipated purchase, and that is Blood and Beauty by Sarah Dunant. I recently read The Birth of Venus by Sarah Dunant and absolutely loved it, and this one follows the story of the Borgias, who are a family that I recently have found an interest in. I had never known about them before. Actually, Jennifer Brooks introduced me to them as a family and said that this is actually one of the best historical fictions about them that she's ever read, and so because of that and because I like Sarah Dunant's writing, I felt like I should pick this up to get my introduction to the Borgias before I start doing more research into them, but I'm really, really excited to pick this up. This is also the first in a duology, so another one that will provide more reading material should I end up liking it, and yeah, plus I really love the color of this cover a lot. Next, I have another sort of medieval historical fiction, and that is King Hereafter by Dorothy Dunnet. This is a story following the real Macbeth, so the man who inspired the play Macbeth by William Shakespeare. I don't know anything other than that, but I am excited to read this because I do love Macbeth the play, and I recently read another retelling of a Shakespeare play that I absolutely loved. So I feel like retellings of Shakespeare plays set in like fantasy worlds or in medieval time periods is just my jam. I just love it. I mean, this is technically not really a retelling. It's more like going back to the original source material and telling the story again, but I'm really excited to pick this up whenever I do. It's a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. It's like 700 pages, which I was not expecting, but it's okay. I'm sure I'll love it whenever I get to it. It's also a beautiful, like, super floppy paperback, which we all love. And the last book I have to talk about is Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. This is a classic story that I know nothing about, literally nothing about. I have read a book by Ayn Rand in the past and really enjoyed it. She does a lot of kind of more science fiction-y, dystopian sort of stuff as far as I can tell. But the reason I picked this up is because there is a scholarship opportunity I want to apply for later this year that requires me to write an essay about this book, but to do that I need to read it. And it's over 1,000 pages. It's very, very long. I think it's even longer than The Count of Monte Cristo, which I'm currently working on. So we're going to have a couple of over 1,000-page books that I'll be reading this year, I guess, but that's okay. Sometimes it happens. Yeah, I'm going to be working on this probably July through August, and then after that I'll be able to work on the essay, but I wanted to get this with enough time to be able to read it over a couple of months and then have time to write a good essay on it. So anyway, I am excited to read this though. It's not just for that sort of assignment purpose. I have liked Ayn Rand's writing in the past, so I feel like it's going to be a really good journey. It's just humongous and a little intimidating, but it's okay. We're just gonna do it. We're just gonna take the challenge. Anyway, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below some books you've recently picked up, as I would love to know. Also, if you've read any of these books and have strong feelings about any of them, I'd love to hear your thoughts. But yeah, that will be everything. I will see you next time. Bye!